You're watching AFN Pacific, a service of AFRTS.
Tonight on Pacific Report, training in the Pacific. Carrot 99 and Cobra Gold are still a go. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Airman Debbie Decker. U.S. troops participating in the Carrot exercise, or Cooperative Afloat Readiness and Training, can expect one less port call. The Philippine Navy will not participate as much in this year's Carrot exercise, and U.S. troops will not stop in the Philippines for a port visit. Lieutenant Commander Kate Mueller has the details.
Planning for this year's Carrot exercise is continuing, but because the Philippine Senate has not ratified the Visiting Forces Agreement at this time, we're not able to incorporate a full phase of the exercise in the Philippines. We are still planning for a passing exercise during which U.S. Navy and Philippine Navy ships would conduct communication drills, maneuvers at sea. More information on the Carrot exercise with the other Southeast Asian countries involved will be available as we complete the planning process.
Some of the port visits planned for troops taking part in the Carrot exercise include Singapore, Indonesia, and Malaysia. The Kosovo crisis puts a damper on Pacific exercises. Singapore's Commando Sling exercise was canceled, as well as Alaska's Cope Thunder. But it's full speed ahead for Thailand's Cobra Gold exercise, despite the absence of 2 ships from the 7th Fleet that were slated to take part in the exercise. Instead of training in the Pacific, USS Kitty Hawk and USS Chancellorsville are in the Persian Gulf, participating in that ongoing mission. While the absence of an aircraft carrier does change the Navy's capabilities here in the Pacific, there are still American warships in the region. Air Force Staff Sergeant Fitzgerald Stewart reports from Singapore, where 2 other ships are on their way to Thailand to practice war games.
Cruiser USS Mobile Bay and the Vandergrift, a fast frigate, are holding down the fort, so to speak, in the Western Pacific. This week, that role has them ported here in Singapore for a Defense Maritime exhibition. In the very near future, they'll take over for the Kitty Hawk at Exercise Cobra Gold in Thailand. Obviously, Mobile Bay, a cruiser, has different capabilities than the Kitty Hawk, an aircraft carrier. In Thailand, Cobra Gold officials are modifying the naval portion of the exercise to reflect this difference.
It wasn't a real robust agenda to begin with, but now that's kind of still shaping up. But since when an Aegis cruiser comes on the scene, we were able to do a lot of things with area defense, defending the area, the amphibious operating area. So we're looking to have a big role there.
After Cobra Gold, Mobile Bay and the Vandergrift will continue Western Pacific maneuvers, including participation in exercise Cooperative Afloat Readiness and Training, Carrot 99. Staff Sergeant Fitzgerald Stewart, AFN News in Singapore.
The opening ceremony for Exercise Cobra Gold is scheduled for May 12th. From an exercise to the real thing, there's a presidential executive order that orders Marines to Kosovo. A new message came out this week outlining how the Marine Corps will handle this. The message talks about the voluntary and involuntary recall of Marine Reserve forces for deployment in and around Yugoslavia. Navy reservists assigned to Marine units may also be recalled. The chief of the media branch at Headquarters U.S. Marine Corps is Major David LePan. He had this to say about the recall of reservists.
In response to a presidential executive order ordering the selected recall of reservists, the Marine Corps has published a Marine Corps administrative message, MAR Admin 19699, that provides details for reserve Marines and also active duty Marines who may be affected by this, again, selected presidential reserve call-up.
Here's more Kosovo news. People in the military and federal employees can donate money to help Kosovar Albanian refugees. You can even donate through the World Wide Web. There are over 50 charitable organizations on the website. Normally, the only solicitation for military members overseas is the annual combined federal campaign. But an exception was made this year because of what's happening in Kosovo. Donations go to relief agencies on the front line. Look up the website for more information or call 1-800-US-AID-RELIEF. Someone in the Pacific won a big award. Courage and quick thinking earned an Air Force Sergeant the 1999 Vanguard Award. Staff Sergeant Miguel Perez from Misawa saved a pilot's life last July when he worked with 2 Japanese NCOs to pull a pilot from the area of a burning F-16 and then administer a first aid. The Vanguard Award is given out by the Non-Commissioned Officers Association to an NCO from each military service who performed a heroic act that prevented injury or saved a life. Sergeant Perez receives his award at the annual Non-Commissioned Officer Association convention in July. See how pilots at Kunsan, South Korea trained for chemical warfare. That story is just ahead, but first, here's your weather.
Now, from the AFN Weather Center, this is an AFN Weather Update.
Good evening. I'm Air Force Staff Sergeant Gerard Hunter in the Air Force Weather Agency's AFN Weather Center. Taking a look at the regional surface map, it looks like a pretty mild day across most of the forecast areas. High pressure maintains a strong influence on area weather conditions. The exception will be southeast China, as a weak area of low pressure brings rainfall to Taipei and the southern provinces. A look at the regional still gives us a clear picture of tonight's expected conditions. Look for mostly scattered skies from Vladivostok to Okinawa, with lows mainly in the 50s, while Vietnam and southern China can expect mostly cloudy skies. Lows will only dip into the 70s, with Hong Kong also expecting rain showers, making conditions humid overnight. Weather across Korea will be fairly mild under partly to mostly cloudy skies. Daegu checks in tonight at 48. Otherwise, look for lows in the 50s. Misawa may see a shower or 2 overnight with a low of 42 degrees. Otherwise, expect partly to mostly cloudy skies from Tokyo to Sasebo with lows in the 50s. Tomorrow brings scattered showers to Tokyo and thunderstorms develop in Hong Kong. Otherwise, expect fair weather across the region. Vladivostok will see a high of 52. Beijing, Okinawa, and Hanoi hit the low 80s, while Seoul expects a pleasant 70 degrees. In the south, a pair of low-pressure centers bring rain to western Thailand and southern China. Widespread showers develop along the equatorial zone, and a cold front moves into southwestern Australia. Although little is expected from it, Perth could see a shower or 2 by morning. Tonight, look for rain showers at Diego Garcia, Singapore, Bangkok, and Manila, with clear to partly cloudy skies elsewhere. Lows across the tropics will hit the upper 70s, with our Australian sites dipping into the 40s and 50s. Diego Garcia and Singapore will see showers tomorrow, while the rest of the region expects dry weather. Highs range from a scorching 109 at New Delhi to a cool 66 for Canberra. That's your weather update. I'm Staff Sergeant Gerard Hunter in the AFN Weather Center.
The medical clinic at Kadena, Okinawa is moving to a new building. Marine Corporal Rob McCann shows us its future location and tells us how it will improve medical treatment on Kadena.
Workers are putting the final touches on the outside of Kadena's new medical clinic. The Japanese government built the facility under the Japanese Facilities Improvement Project. The clinic will be used for outpatient care only, and Leicester Naval Hospital will still provide all inpatient care. But the new facility will put the 5 clinics the 18th Medical Group currently operates from under one roof.
What we call one-stop shopping for our customers and our staff. The dental clinic will be moving into there, and all our outpatient care and our TRICARE support functions will all be moving into this new facility.
The building has more than 450 parking spaces for patients, visitors, and staff, allowing easy access. It was also built in compliance with the Japanese natural light law, meaning nearly every room has windows.
I think it's just going to be a great environment for the staff and for our patients to come in to seek care there.
Customers can expect the clinic to open in mid-July. Corporal Rob McCann, AFN News, Kadena Air Base.
People stationed in South Korea train for all kinds of wartime threats, including chemical warfare. Pilots at Kunsan, South Korea learned that the way they take off their chemical gear is almost as important as the way they put it on. Air Force Sergeant Gary Piccirillo found out why.
After being outfitted with the necessary under and over garments, the pilots pick up the action in transit from a simulated flight.
Okay, are you guys ready to go? Look at each other. This is exactly the way you should look before you step onto that jet. Questions? Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the next level.
After touchdown and upon exiting the aircraft, the pilots will slip into plastic liners, effectively shielding them from contamination on the ground while protecting ground crews from any contamination the pilots may have been exposed to while in the air.
What we're going to do is we're just going to move your overboots and your overcape, and we're going to place them directly in the trash and pull your overboots off and just help your feet.
A decon checkpoint is the next stop, where a pilot's professional gear can be decontaminated before he or she proceeds to a toxic-free area.
Okay, so what I'm doing right now, So checking you out with them paper, make sure you're not contaminated, and you're good.
The same layers of clothing and gear that took nearly an hour to put on are peeled away one by one, with the most important step saved for last.
You got enough hands? Put your eyes closed, hold your breath.
Swapping out one protective mask that was suitable for flying with another that's part of the essential ground ensemble. There's no room for error here. A pilot must endure this routine not only to be declared toxin-free, but also to be given the go-ahead to safely redress and fly again. Air Force Sergeant Gary Picarillo, AFKN News, Kunsan.
Still ahead, we'll show you a place you can go to see things in a totally different way. The story's coming up after this quick break.
I want to be the greatest artist in the whole world. I want to see my name on the front page every day. I want to work in a zoo and take care of animals when they're sick. I want to make buildings for real and skyscrapers.
U.S. savings bonds can help you get them to college. They're guaranteed safe and now earn Treasury-based rates right from the start. So start saving now, and they can be what they want to be when they grow up.
I want to be a pilot.
Even if they do keep changing their minds.
Death Valley, hot, dry, and desolate. It also contains one of the world's largest deposits of a mineral called borax, which is used to make soap, enamels, and glass. Its discovery in 1880 presented an interesting challenge: how to transport it out of the desert. William Coleman, a San Francisco businessman who invested $20,000 in one of the first borax deposits, was familiar with the use of mule teams to transport cargo. They were strong, sure-footed, and well-suited for survival in high temperatures. They were the answer to getting enough borax out of Death Valley to make the trips worthwhile. The only question seemed to be, how many of them would it take to pull the borax, plus enough supplies to get out of the desert before running out of food and water? The magic number seemed to be 20. So for the next quarter century, the sight of the 20 mule teams pulling their borax-laden wagons across the plains of Death Valley became one of the many symbols of progress in settling America's untamed West.
Tokyo is one of the largest cities in the world, so it has a lot to offer in the way of entertainment. If you're looking for something different from the usual amusement parks and shopping malls, then you're in luck. On this Sights and Sounds special, Marine Corporal Josh Walker takes us to the Trick Art Museum.
This may look like your typical place to stop, take a break, and fill up as you travel through Japan. But with this gas station, there's more than meets the eye.
The Trick Art Museum sits above a gas station on the outskirts of Tokyo, Japan. It looks like a lot of other museums with displays and paintings, but when you step inside and look at the art, you can see the difference.
It might look like I'm pulling a stone from this wall, but like all the images in this museum, your eyes can fool you.
Trick art means art that tricks you into thinking you're seeing something that isn't there, like these Egyptian statues, which appear three-dimensional, but are actually a painting on a flat wall. This is art which lets the viewer do more than just stand and look. While most of the images appear to be more than a simple painting, other optical illusions seem to move as you walk around them.
As you walk through the museum, you're encouraged to touch all the exhibits. But one thing to keep in mind is, make sure you can tell the difference between what's real and what's an illusion.
The instructions on how to view the images and a description of them are in Japanese, but they also have written guides in English. The Trick Art Museum isn't just a place to go for art lovers, but anyone who likes to have a good time. For Sights and Sounds of the Pacific, I'm Corporal Josh Walker in Tokyo.
Coming soon to a base theater near you, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. That's the new Star Wars movie, to those of you who don't know. While some people are taking leave to fly back to the States to see the movie, others can see it at their base theater. The movie premieres in the U.S. on May 19th. It's expected to hit some Pacific bases in early June. Places like Japan and Okinawa, as well as Yongsan Army Garrison and Osan Air Base in Korea, will get the movie first. Other Army posts in Korea should get the film in late June. Officials in Guam are still working on the dates that they'll be able to show the film. And that's going to wrap it up for tonight's newscast. Thank you for joining us. I'm Senior Airman Debbie Decker, bringing the Pacific Command to the world. This is Pacific Report.
Pacific Report is compiled from AFRTS and Public Affairs news sources and is a production of
and the Red Cross. For a month, they had nothing to smile about. They smiled on Monday. Sergeant Christopher Stone, Specialist Stephen Gonzalez, and Sergeant Andrew Ramirez were released from Yugoslavia over the weekend and reunited with their families. Yugoslav forces captured the three soldiers in March, and for almost a month, their families could only guess about their health and welfare because Yugoslav authorities denied Red Cross visits to the prisoners.
The expectation would be that the representatives of the International Committee of the Red Cross would be allowed opportunities to visit with the POWs in private, to provide them an opportunity to send messages, Red Cross messages, back to their families.
When Red Cross officials were finally allowed to see the three soldiers last week, they brought them messages from home, and the prisoners were permitted to write back to their loved ones. Those messages were delivered through local American Red Cross chapters. The Red Cross's Emergency Message Center in Falls Church, Virginia, is an important conduit for these types of communications. And in a POW situation, the Red Cross also helps maintain the flow of information between families and the military.
We work directly with the families, but we coordinate very, very closely with the military so that each other knows what is happening, and that the family knows that the Red Cross is there to provide this service when there is a need.
A major concern of families is the POW's health. The Red Cross checks their medical condition to help ensure they are treated humanely. That's the 2-Minute Report. From Washington, I'm George Yorn.
On 2-Minute Plus, you can learn more about Armed Forces Emergency Services on the Red Cross homepage. Click on Our Services.
To ward off disease. The symbol